The night Daniel Carter realized how lonely he truly was came quietly, with the hum of the refrigerator and the soft breathing of his 6-year-old son asleep on the couch beside him, a small hand still clutching Daniel's shirt as if afraid the world might take him away too, and in that moment Daniel understood that being strong every day didn't mean the weight disappeared, it just meant he carried it alone. Before the story truly begins, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of people showing up for one another, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and tell us where you're watching from, because stories like this are meant to travel farther than one screen. Daniel had been a single father for 3 years, ever since his wife Emily passed away unexpectedly, leaving behind a silence that never quite faded, and although life had forced him into routines of packed lunches, late-night laundry, and pretending everything was fine, there was a part of him that missed being seen as more than just the dad next door. When his co-workers convinced him that it was time to try dating again, Daniel agreed half-heartedly, not because he felt ready, but because he was tired of feeling invisible. Yet the moment he stood in front of his mirror, adjusting a jacket that hadn't been worn since Emily's funeral, doubt crept in, whispering that he no longer remembered how to be someone worth choosing. His biggest fear wasn't rejection, it was the possibility that opening his heart again might somehow betray the love he had lost, and so when anxiety took over, he did the one thing that felt safe, he knocked on the door next to his. That door belonged to Grace Miller, his neighbor for nearly 2 years, a quiet woman with kind eyes who often waved from her porch and brought over soup when Daniel looked exhausted, someone who seemed to understand grief without ever mentioning it. Daniel asked her for help with a date, something small and practical at first, advice about what restaurant to choose, what to wear, how to explain his life without sounding broken, but as he spoke, the words spilled out heavier than expected, revealing how scared he was of failing, of disappointing his son, of being judged for the mess his life had become. Grace listened the way people rarely do, not rushing to fix him, not offering clichés, just letting the truth sit between them, and when she finally responded, her words landed differently than anything Daniel had heard in years, because instead of telling him how to impress someone else, she gently reminded him that the right person wouldn't need a polished version of his pain, only honesty and heart. That simple shift changed something inside Daniel, because for the first time since Emily's death, he felt permission to be exactly who he was without apology, and he left that conversation feeling lighter, as if the burden he carried had been shared, even if only for a moment. The date itself wasn't perfect, and it wasn't supposed to be, but Daniel showed up as himself, a father with a full heart and visible scars, and while the evening didn't lead to sparks or promises, it gave him something more valuable, confidence that his story didn't make him unlovable. In the days that followed, Daniel noticed how often Grace crossed his mind, not romantically at first, but as a presence that grounded him, someone who had seen him at his weakest and didn't turn away, and slowly their neighborly exchanges grew warmer, more meaningful, filled with shared laughter, small acts of support, and an unspoken understanding of loss and resilience. Daniel's son began to ask about Grace too, noticing how his father smiled more, how the house felt less heavy, and in those moments Daniel realized that healing doesn't arrive in grand gestures, but in quiet consistency, in people who show up without needing to be asked. Just before the ending, we want to ask you something special. Please comment below and share whether you believe that healing comes from love, time, or the people who walk beside us when life breaks us open. As the seasons changed, so did Daniel, learning that moving forward didn't mean leaving Emily behind, but honoring her by choosing life again, and when he finally understood that the night he asked his neighbor for help wasn't about a date at all, but about learning how to hope, he felt gratitude instead of regret. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the loneliest moments can lead to unexpected connection, please like this video, share it with someone who might need comfort, comment your thoughts, and subscribe, because sometimes the smallest conversations are the ones that change everything, and sometimes love begins not with romance, but with someone simply listening when you knock on their door.